Welcome to Charissa Marie's Maternal Musings. I'm your host, Charissa Marie. Join me for heartfelt conversations with mothers, aunts, and fellow moms who also happen to be entrepreneurs, teachers, doctors, therapists, and more. We'll share profound life advice and wisdom, exploring personal experiences, life lessons, and professional expertise to enlighten, encourage, and empower. Tune in for inspiration and subscribe to join our journey of growth and empowerment. Hey, this is Charissa Marie with Charissa Marie's Maternal Musings, and we are at episode 3. We have Miss Latricia Queenager. Yes, I love that name. You're gonna love her. So she is, of course, she is a mother, and she's got a wealth of experience, many years, and she is. We're talking about things that we would have told our 20-year-old selves or our 30-year-old selves, and what we've learned from that. I am not, but I am no longer 20 or 30 something. I am in my 50s, and I respect and value advice from women who have lived a life and have gained experience worthy of sharing. And so I just want to share it with you all. So please enjoy some of the great stories you'll hear about this woman's life. All right, enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when I have another video coming out. If you just enjoy listening, you don't have time to sit and watch, if you're on a trip somewhere, then find me on a podcast. I'm on many platforms, and I'll put that information in the description. All right, so enjoy. Till next time.
Afternoon.
Hi, we're finally recording, and hi everybody. So I am Charissa Marie of Charissa Marie's Maternal Musings, and I am so excited to introduce you to today, Latricia the Queenager. Okay, and I met you how many years ago now? Maybe 3. It seemed like time flew by. It was before COVID. Right before COVID, I think.
Yeah.
Right before COVID, we met at work. And before we met officially, we just had phone conversations or fax, and that was it. And then when you came into our office, you fell in love with us immediately. I do remember. I remember that. And we took pictures, and I have the picture still. So we have a special guest. So tell me a little bit about yourself. So I know that you retired. Tell me about yourself.
All right. Well, I am fully retired, although I'm busier than ever. I am 74 years old. I have 3 children. I have 10 grandchildren, and I have 26 great-grandchildren. The 26th great-grandchild has just started going to daycare. I kept her for a year so her mom wouldn't have to take her out. So I kept her. I would go to her house and take care of her and spend the night, all that kind of stuff, and I took care of her. So now the thrill of me being a great-grandmother is to see how the kids yell and scream and giggle and squeal when they see me. And they call me Lala. Yeah, they call me Lala, but the baby, the littlest one that I just kept, she calls me Mimi. She's not sharing me with anybody.
You're her only. Nobody else can call you Mimi.
She is the only one that calls me Mimi. Everybody else calls me Lala. Most of my grandchildren, I have 4 here, 2, 3, 4 here, 2 and 3 in California, 1 in Dallas, Texas, and 2 in South Carolina. So all of my grandchildren are adults except for 1. and he's
Mm,
17, so he's on his way.
Ought to be, yeah. What?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a beautiful, blessed life to have. So
Yes.
I just have to say thank you once again for doing this with me. So you fit exactly who I needed to talk to. Um, a mother, a grandmother, all the things. And this show really is about the advice that we get from our mothers and our grandparents, and advice that we need. And we just talked
Yeah.
about whether we really want it or not. You know how it is. We still
Yeah.
need it. And we go through things. We're hard headed. I am. I was. And I still would I would fall, make a mistake because I didn't listen to like sometimes mom's advice. But I learned from that, and I learned
Yeah.
hard lessons, and they were valuable. They saved my life in sometimes, in some situations. Like, okay, let me recall what they told me because this is what I need to do. And it's one of those things I have just observing the world right now that we live in, that there's not enough people giving us that wanted or unwanted advice from people who have lived a life and have a wisdom that is priceless, that we need, especially our young people. And so I thought that you would be perfect because just the small encounter that I had with you in person, I felt the motherly kind of, I felt happy love, you know, a nurturing kind of a thing. It was great,
Yes.
and I have a sneaking suspicion that you just can't help it. I think it's just uh, I think you just can't help it. And that's a good quality to have. And you're just so smart and also very outspoken. And so I thought, this is why I have to have her here. I remember these things. I really am very observant. So
Okay.
before you and I started recording, we started talking about this. You were saying, we were talking about how some people don't really want advice, but
Yes.
we all know we need it. So tell me about that. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Why do you think that is?
Okay. So I'll go back to my mother. And I used to be, my mother was critical. That's one of the things that she was critical. And then she learned that from her stepmother, because her stepmother was not affectionate and her stepmother was critical. And she was that way with us. One of the things that I anticipated doing when I had children is not be critical and to be loving and affectionate with them. It took me a long time to get there because I perceived that my children needed discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I did not perceive that they needed encouragement as much as they did, because I expected them to do things well. I taught them never to do not lie to me, not ever. I cannot have your back if you lie. If you're going to school and there's a problem, if you lie to me, I can't go to the teacher and say, listen, now I know my child because my child will not lie to me. That is how I brought them up. So I have their back. No matter what you tell me that they have done, I am sorry. My child said they did not do that. And I believe them because I have taught them not to lie to me. Those are some of the things that I also brought them up to know, that if it's not yours, don't touch it. Do not touch it. You will
Mm-hmm.
not be. You understand what I'm saying? Do not touch it.
Yeah.
Those are two
You draw
things that
back
I
the limb.
would,
You
excuse
don't have
me?
no hand. Go ahead and try it. You draw back a limb.
Yes. Now, those are two things that I was very strict about. Now, as far as encouraging them, I think I was a little old school because I was brought up in segregation. So,
Mm.
and segregation, you weren't told that you could do anything. There are certain things you can't do. You were not told what
Mhm.
you could do. So I was
Mhm.
not an encourager in that aspect. And the reason is that's the way I was brought up.
Mhm.
You can't go through this door. You have to go around the other side. I mean, that's how I
Hmm.
was brought up. So a lot of things you cannot teach someone that you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Now, after the fact, I experienced other things and things got better, but it was ingrained in me up to no, you can't do this. This is not something that they will that you are allowed to do. I wanted to go in the military. My daddy said, "Oh no, ma'am." So after he
Mhm.
said, "Oh no, ma'am," guess what? It that ended it for me. After I was even out of his household as an adult, I still could have gone to the military, but guess what? I did not go because he said at that time, no, I didn't. Excuse me. I did not look for another avenue to make that decision.
Hmm.
So,
Mhm.
and, like I said before, what you don't know, you don't know. You cannot teach someone something that you don't know.
Yeah,
And through
absolutely.
yeah, through your experiences, you can tell somebody the things that happen to you, but
Mhm.
they're not going to. They'll listen, and until they experience it for themselves, it's a lesson in futility, is what I call it. I mean, okay.
Mhm.
And I am one, I don't want anybody to tell me I told you so, and I am one not to tell people I told you so because they know. They already know.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
look that's enough. It's the look.
That,
It's
oh, they know the look.
is enough. I
Yeah.
remember going through things, and isn't it crazy though? I mean, I think every generation, no matter what generation we come from, has a something in us is a teeny tiny bit rebellious. You know what I mean? And not to the not always to our detriment. Sometimes out of curiosity. Sometimes thinking, oh, well, it's a new day. There's surely I can do this better than my mother and my grandmother. They just didn't know. They didn't know. They didn't because it was different then, right? But
Yes.
but the core of all things is basically the same. It's just a different time. And
Yes.
then in your 20s, you kind of learn the hard way. So but you learn. Like I'm one of those people that like if I touch a hot stove, I'll never do it again. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
learned from those things. And that I think is the beauty in it. And it's okay to make mistakes if you can learn from them. But looking back at your 20s, what was it like? And what would you tell your 20-year-old self? And what advice did you get when you were 20?
Okay. So my mother came from the quiet generation. I never knew anything about women's time of the month, none of that. My mother did not tell me any of those things. I actually learned those from experience. So at 20 years old, I had two children. What I would tell my 20-year-old self is not what you need to be is not what you need to be doing right now.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
my yeah, my daughters also had children as teens, although they were older than I was. And then now my grandchildren, they were in their 20s. They didn't start as teens because that is one of the things that I did talk to them about. You don't
Hmm.
babysitting and having a baby are two different things.
Hmm. Yeah.
I experienced babysitting because I took care of my siblings. I had said for many years that I was not having any children. After having to take care of my brothers and sisters, I said I'm not having any children. But I didn't know what I needed to know not to have children. Anyway, um, I would tell my 20-year-old self that it's okay to make a mistake.
Mhm.
You don't have to go to college because everybody's telling you to go to college,
Mhm.
but you need to go ahead and make some decisions for yourself, not
Absolutely.
just continue to follow decisions that everybody is making for you. But the main thing is, no, I would not have had children in my teens, in my early 20s. I would have waited. But
Mhm.
now that I have great grandchildren, if I had waited too long, I may not have ever seen them. So it's six in one hand, half a dozen in the other, like my mother used to always say. There are some of my friends my age that are just getting grandchildren. My grandchildren are already adults and have their children. So it's been a blessing in disguise to start young, and I'm still young.
You are. You're a queen.
Yes, and still young and able to enjoy my children,
Yeah.
my grands and my great grands.
Mhm.
So my adult girls, I have two granddaughters. The rest of them are boys. So the two girls and I, we're very close. They listen most of the time. They're very successful, and I am very proud of all of them. They have all done well. Nobody's in jail. Nobody's been murdered. You know, these are things that happen in families.
Yeah.
So it hasn't always been the best, but it's good.
But it turned out, it turned out the way it's supposed to have turned out. Like you said, you wouldn't, who knows if you would have had seen some of your great grands. You know what I mean? So uh, things turned out the way you were blessed in how you were supposed to be.
Yeah.
I love hearing stories like that. So okay, now because I think you are snazzy. All right. So
Yeah, that's what they say
uh,
too.
yeah, see. So I'm trying to imagine what was and you can share this or not share, but what was tell me about an experience that you will never forget that created a big memory for you in your 20s.
Hmm. I really don't have anything that in my 20s. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what it was. What was my husband and I had separated, and I was in New Jersey and he was in California. So I went back to Virginia from New Jersey and I worked for a while so I could go to California to reunite with him. I was terrified, of course, because we had been separated for a while. And so I flew into Los Angeles. And when I got there, they weren't, him and the person that was supposed to pick me up weren't there.
Mm.
Okay. So I started thinking, okay, so you have this much money. Are you going to have to go? Because, we hadn't communicated at that time. There were no cell phones. If you didn't talk on the telephone, landline, there was no communication. So I didn't get fearful right away, but I started getting fearful because here I am in Los Angeles, don't know anybody else that's there, didn't know I had relatives there. I know now, but I didn't know anyone else there. And he wasn't there to pick me up. Okay, so have I just been set up? Scam wasn't a word at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Had I just been set up to take a big fall or what? So I'm thinking in my head, okay, so I need to get a taxi to go to the Y because that's all I could think of right there. And I wasn't going to a hotel. I needed to go somewhere where, you know, I'll go to the Y. And if I have to, I'll get a job and work and come back to Virginia. I mean, that was the plan. And lo and behold, here he comes with flowers, happy to see me. That was a big moment in my life. Because I thought at first I thought I was gonna be
That could have
on
been.
school.
That could have been. That could have gone way left. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
go ahead.
whew, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That
but
that sounded like okay. That's a good, beautiful thing, and then that turned out. That turned out nicely. I'm ashamed to say about my situation. I had a situation kind of sort of like that, but it was not positive.
okay, okay.
So I left. What was that? I was in and this is crazy how I ended up back in Virginia, but I was living in Virginia working at a radio station. And this love, I thought, he was trying to move us to Georgia, and he had found work ahead of time, and and I'm working here in Virginia, and I thought, oh, okay, I thought, you know what? I think I want to just go see what's going on and what's it like there. Let me just go visit him for the weekend. And now, in hindsight, this was a spring up. Okay, this was a spring up. I definitely was trying to see things for myself, what was going on, and I
Yeah,
think because there was lack of communication when there should not have been. Like there was some lack of communication. So I knew where he worked, and so I popped in. I said, "You want to do lunch?" And he said he was shocked, of course, to see me, and he said, "No, no, it's not a good time." And he said, and it's so crazy when you think about how naive I was. He got this job because of an
okay.
ex who was we were in our 20s. She was like in her 30s, and it was just kind of a thing. And he made it sound, and when you're young, you don't want to hear things. You don't listen to things that you should be listening to because you're blinded by stupidity. Love is not even the right word. And I drove all the way there, and he I believe had connected with his ex. And so he's trying to put me up somewhere with his friends to stay. So I'm not completely, but I was
Yeah,
stranded temporarily. Then I had car issues. So I had to stay like for a week until I can get back to Virginia. And I was like, I cannot, my mama raised me better than this. I was like, it was one of those moments like I was not listening to all those voices in my head, and I just went out without consulting my ancestors. You know what I mean? It was just like one of those. I
yeah.
should have
Well,
had a
my
meeting.
mom, that's right. My mom told me, said, well, what if you get out there and he doesn't come to get you? What if you get out there and he doesn't want to be with you? I told her, I said,
Mm-hmm.
well, just exactly what I said. I'm going to go to the Y. I'll work for a while and get enough money to have because I did not have round trip fare. I had one way fare and then
Mm.
some extra money for when I got there. But I said I'll work somewhere and get enough money to come back. That
Yeah.
was my
Yeah.
plan because it could have been could have been the other way around. You say, hey, listen, we split up, and I had moved on. I don't want to be bothered. Not a problem. Hey, listen, not a problem. I had Plan B in motion.
Right. Yeah. I get it. So I was like, I ended up doing, I had to do what you did not have to do. I scrounged some money up. I got my car fixed and drove myself back to Virginia and learned a hard lesson about those
Yes.
instincts. Those instincts are real, and we ought to listen to those instincts, and not fantasize or romanticize things all the time. It's sometimes it is what it is.
You're right. I
So,
stayed out
so
there.
now let's
I,
talk about
I stayed in California 18 years after that.
18 years.
Had another child.
California was wow. Okay, see, because you know what? Okay, don't blush on me. You might blush. You know why? Because I've seen pictures of you in your youth. Ma'am, you are a brick house.
Yeah.
You are beautiful. I've seen pictures because I've seen you post some stuff, and I was like, whoa, okay. See, it took me a number of decades to have any curves. It took a lot of decades. It took me like 3 children to have any kind of, because I was a stick for a long time. Ma'am, I saw the picture. You were on a beach or something. I remember the picture, and I thought, "Oh my gosh!" And I can tell you. Yeah, but I remember. Well, I already knew you. You had to have been beautiful because you have beautiful features now. But when I saw the proof, I was like, "Look at that!" She was banging like she was a brick house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I never thought so. I never thought I was beautiful.
But looking at those pictures, you were, in case you didn't know, you were beautiful. And so of course your husband's like, I can't let her go back nowhere. She's gonna stay right here with me. Cause I don't want nobody to snatch her up. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, he was your type, so I wasn't a big deal to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's okay. We made it through.
You made it through. So you and speaking of making it through, so how was it? Because sometimes when I was a young mother myself. I had my first child at 30. So how was when you raised your children? When did you? How did you get back to? When did you come back to Virginia?
Well, things transpired. He left California before I did. He came back to Virginia, and he was one of those adamant daddy types. And he says, "Well, I'm keeping the kids with me." Okay, not a problem, because I don't want to have to fight you for child support, all that kind of stuff. You want to take the kids with you? Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a problem. I mean, he was a very good father.
Mm-hmm.
Being a husband was a little difficult, but he was very good as a father. So
Yeah.
he left. He left California, and then, and I let him. I said, although you are so adamant about the children being with you, when they get to the age that they can make their own decisions, they will come back with me. And that's what happened. My youngest daughter and my son, they came back to California when I was there, and then we actually left there and moved to South Carolina. So my job offered me the opportunity to move to South Carolina, so that's what I did. And then I married another guy. So I met another guy from California. Yeah. So him and I came to South Carolina, and then I stayed down there 20 years, and now I'm back in Virginia.
So wow, I lived in South Carolina. We were stationed there before I moved to Virginia, where I met you. So now tell me, let's talk about your 30-year-old self. Your 30-year-old self. How different do you think what were the different, because when there's a decade of knowledge, even at 30, that you gain, from when you're 20s. Like, I think about some of the stupid things I did when I was 20. In my 30s, I used to say to myself, well, that was stupid. Why did I do that? Right? Because you do gain a little bit more knowledge, and you feel a little bit more, kind of feel yourself. I think when I was 30, I was like, learning myself and what I could accept a lot more. I was stronger in it than I was in my 20s. What was your experience in your 30s?
Okay, in my 30s, I became more career oriented. My children were older. I didn't have to worry about having a babysitter for them because they were old enough to take care of each other. So I was more career oriented. I actually worked at the post office for about 7.5 years as a letter carrier. I worked a lot. Postal employees work hard. There's no jokes,
Yeah.
So yeah, but they were able to take care of themselves at that time. So in my 30s, I was more career oriented. Now, one of the things that I wished I had done in my 30s was, along with being career oriented, also put aside money for retirement. I wished I had focused more on that, but that was not important to me at that time. I made a lot of money and I spent a lot of money while in those years, from my 30s to my 40s. Yeah, I made quite a bit of money, but I also spent quite a bit of money. I did not save and plan for retirement because as I was growing up, I always was taught about taking care of today, tomorrow, and I still believe that. Take care of today. Tomorrow is not promised. But because I have lived this long, taking care, if I had saved some more, I would. I'm comfortable now. I would have been a little more comfortable if I had saved some money instead of just spend as I went. So in my 30s, I'm a little more conscious. I'll tell you a story. We bought a house in Los Angeles in 1979. At that time, the house cost $29,900. We ended up losing that house. The house today is valued at $784,000.
Wow.
Yes.
That
My sister,
when you put it like that, that's like just a bank sitting there at your disposal because of the value of the house right now.
and it's on a side street. It's on 30th Street in Los Angeles between West Boulevard and Crenshaw Boulevard. Now, I just, I'm into research, so I just happened to look. The houses in the area are in the 1.2 million range.
Wow.
In that neighborhood that I used to live in. Yes. So,
my goodness.
yeah, in my 30s, now that I look back, in my 30s, I would have kept that house, saved some money. And whether or not I pay taxes on it, I'm sure the taxes on it are just monstrous at this point. But that's what I would have done in my 30s, is save money and learn how to keep my property that would have also given me money to live on, you know, now.
Yeah. Ooh, it's funny that you say that because I see a lot of similarities in my life. Me too. I remember thinking, and I was one of those because I had my child early in life. A lot of my friends were in, college, in their 20s and doing these things. My sister, went to college. She's 4 years younger than me. I went to college, but I didn't stay. You know what I mean? Because I had my child while in college. I ended up getting I was always working for jobs that paid well. Like I was always like, at one point I was at the radio station and then I worked at a TV station, and then I've always been blessed. I felt like God has always covered me in that way. I've always been able to do what I need to do financially for myself and my daughter. But I remember thinking, for me, it was when I get older, I'll start saving money for retirement. Not now. Right now, I just want to enjoy it. When I get older, and then I looked up and I was in my 40s. I was like, what happened to? Am I older? Like and now I'm in my 50s, and and now it's like I'm scrapping here to try to get it together, get things together so that I have something significant. But yeah, on one hand, smarter as far as like knowing how to have a responsible job, but I let things like life get in the way of me protecting myself, my financial future too. It's like
Yeah.
it just kind of like, man, the things now,
Yeah.
you know, I hate
I am
that.
actually, yeah, I'm glad that I married the man that I married, the second man that I married, because he he retired from the post office and he had a pension set aside for his spouse. If
Mm-hmm.
that had not happened,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, if that had not happened, I would have been you. I watch people that live in poverty. It is not a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
and I'm above poverty, but I'm just below the midline. So I'm at
Mm-hmm.
the point where I can't get any additional help, but I don't have enough to go to a retirement home that, where I could just live without having any other worries. But so I advise my grandbabies, I have advised them, you all need to get with a financial planner and look into. Now my oldest granddaughter will be retiring from the Navy next year. She'll be 38 when she
Oh,
retires.
hey, there you go. That's how you do
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Military.
And
Mhm.
my youngest granddaughter, she is a police officer for the military. She is not in the military. She is a civilian police officer for the military.
Mhm.
So they're doing well. My grandson, one of my oldest grandsons, he is a master welder. And his wife went to college to learn how to do stuff as far as contracts and stuff like that. So he she's taking care of that financial situation because she knows exactly what she needs to do to get those contracts done and for their retirement income and stuff like that. So what hasn't happened for me is happening for them because they see the things that I go through.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, you're
Mhm.
they know that I'm not groveling and I don't have to ask them for anything, but they know that I have right now my budget is set and there is no extras unless I decide to go to work. Now my oldest daughter just started a business where they're doing pavement and sidewalk repair and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to work for them. I'm going
There
to
you
work for
go.
my daughter. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the reason I stopped working is because I don't want to have to pay the government because I work.
Mm.
At at the age, I shouldn't be having to pay taxes, but anyway. So
Wow. So you
so
are seeing the dream realized through your offspring.
that's correct. That's
Mhm.
correct. They have learned that there's some things that they have to do. They can't just play it away.
Yeah.
They can't have yeah, they can't have everything that they want at this particular time. They can,
Mhm.
have most of the things that they want, but they've got to make sure that there's something for later.
Mhm.
And that's something
I
that I did not
used to,
learn until I got 50.
yeah. I have to admit, like, yeah, I would have honest conversations with my oldest, especially because it was her and I for so long. Honest. I mean, I would say, I want you to see the struggle and not be this struggle. And you are going to protect your Social Security like it is your child, and you are going to
Yes.
care for it, and you're going to. And so I was always feeding these messages in her, starting in middle school. And because I didn't want her to make some of my mistakes, we talked about a lot of things. I remember when she decided, we were in Belgium. At this point, I was married to my husband, and we were in Belgium. She was in high school. She's very girly, and when she made the announcement that she was joining the military, we were like, "Huh?" We were not ready for that. Uh, we were kind of like, and my husband said, "Okay, but just don't join the army. Join the Air Force." That's a nickname that the Army gives the Air Force. And she was really smart. So we knew that she would score high and really get a really good position in the
Right.
military. And I said, and that's what she did. She did. And this is what I told her. I said, listen, now it's time for you to build your credit. So I'm going to not be paying I'm going to not pay for your phone anymore. What you're going to do is you're going to get a credit card for the only reason you're getting it is for the purpose of paying your phone bill every month. So you can have that start to build up. And my husband gave her a CD when she graduated. And years later, she still hadn't spent it. She was so on top of her stuff, way better than I could ever be. She bought her
Awesome.
first house before she was 20. I mean, just, it was like she took what I said and totally created a dream I never would have expected for myself. And I think when she was in boot camp, she wrote me a letter, and the letter basically said, "I know you thought I wasn't listening to anything that you told me, and that I didn't hear your lessons, and they were hard, and I didn't like it, but thank you." Drop the mic.
Oh,
That's what any
oh,
parent That's all that any parent wants to hear. And so I think really, it was really from then on, I kind of felt like I can step back, because no matter how old your kid gets, you're going to always want to protect them. I've kind of felt like, I think she got this. I was like, okay, she's way smarter than me at this age. Like, you know, I think she got this.
oh,
But yeah, big, I think it's a beautiful thing that you did and that I did, and that is to let our kids see an honest struggle so they can
it,
learn from
yes. Uh,
that.
it was better for them to watch than me to tell them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And and
Feel
they're
it.
learning. Yeah, my mother never taught me about finances. My mom and dad never taught me. I did not teach my children, but my grandchildren have been able to, as they're adults, they have been able to see the mistakes and the things that we went through, that they're learning, especially with building their credit and stuff like that. They're learning to do. With the internet now, there's no way for you not to know something.
Right. YouTube University. is what I say.
Yes, there's no way. They used to have this saying about African Americans that if you want them to know something, if you don't want them to know something, put it in a book, because that is a cliche that African
Yeah.
Americans don't read. Well,
Mm.
now we don't even have to worry about reading. Everything, eh, we can listen. We can
It's true.
listen, and anything that you need to know, anything that you need to know how to do, somebody has put it out there on YouTube.
You are absolutely right. I'm one of those YouTube university students. Like I know how
Oh,
to do
you're
it. Yes, you kidding me? Like light fixtures, guess who knows how to do them? That's me. And the ceiling fan, that's me. That's me. I love YouTube, or even like things like what did I that was really kind of useful, marketing or investing, that kind of thing. And then
yeah,
you still that kind of gets dicey. You still want to like the investing thing, talk to a professional, but it gave me some knowledge that I didn't have to read. Like
right. Yeah,
so.
and there's some things like I continue to say, you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes you don't know what you need to know.
Yeah, until it's
You
too
don't know
late.
what questions to ask. Like one of the
Mhm.
things that I have realized recently, and not so recently, but when I lived in Williamsburg as a young adult, the only thing that I always worked towards is either working for Colonial Williamsburg or working for the state hospital that was here. We were surrounded by military bases. There were always civilian jobs open, but did I pursue any? No, I could have retired as a civilian government employee, but no, that was something that didn't even occur to me to do, is to apply for a civilian government job. No,
Yeah.
yeah, because and it's not like I didn't. Yeah, I did not know. My father was in the military,
Hmm.
but I realized that there were so many civilian positions available because I would have retired doing well.
Right. And they really cover their employees like their military almost. I mean, they really do. They really do. And you didn't know what you didn't know, but you took another path and you turned out to be all right. You did all right. But
So
it's
far,
yeah, overall, but I think what happens is some of the advice that we get from our parents, it sticks with us like real hard. So when your daddy said, no ma'am, that
that's
that part of the brain shut it down, said, no ma'am.
I mean, that truly I had no interest in anything on a military base. And my mom used to take me to the military base to play bingo, and I would used to go to the military base and go skating and stuff like that. But when my daddy said no, ma'am, and I had a boyfriend that was on a military base, and my daddy said, my daddy saw to it that boy got shipped out of that military base so I wouldn't talk to him.
Oh, oh man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
serious. Oh my gosh. And it's hard, right? And a lot of young people don't understand that kind of love. It was really
yeah,
all, it was like protecting you. He's looking out for
yeah,
you. Because he also doesn't know what he doesn't know either, right? So
yeah.
he's doing his best to protect his baby. And if you were to try to explain this to someone now, like a younger person, they would be like, well, that's just rude or that's terrible. But they don't understand that kind of love. Really, it was really love. It was love that motivated him to, by any means necessary, right or wrong, he was going to protect you.
Yes.
He gonna keep you
And
safe.
yes, and there are a lot of children that have been born in this area to military fathers that have no clue where their dads are. He
Yeah.
he was protecting me from that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, tell me about it. I remember thinking, is this the military way? When we were stationed in Belgium, and I saw all the young people and he would tell me stories. My husband got in the military late in life, and they're everybody else's kids. And at the time, he was in his 30s, which was unheard of, right? But he's doing his thing, and they would fall in love in 1 week, and they want to get married the next week, and then they get married, and then they decide this is a mistake. There's a divorce. No, sometimes not even a year later. You know what I mean? And then somebody's abandoned with a child. It's just like I saw that a lot. I thought, is
Yes.
this the military way? Especially in the
Yes.
army. I can't speak for anything. It is, isn't it? It's kind of, and it's still going on. It's still going on.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you how many military bases are in this area. So there's Camp Perry, Fort Eustis. It was an the Air Force base was here. Portsmouth Naval Base, Norfolk Naval Base, five, six.
Langley.
That's the Air Force Base, Langley Air Force Base. All of that is here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of military babies here that don't have a clue.
That's
Because
so
these
sad.
guys, because these guys are looking for a home cooked meal and somewhere to stay so they're not at the barracks and stuff like that. Yeah. So my daddy now that after the fact I thought about that, I'm going, okay, so that's exactly what he was doing, protecting me from having to go. He was in the military, so he knew.
Yeah. He's like, look, I know that I used to be a boy. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
he was protecting you. He was protecting you. But at the moment, it's crazy too. Like you and I talking about this, and I was also like, if my dad said certain things, I would listen. Like I would listen and I would honor that advice, even if I hated that
Yeah.
advice. I would, but I would listen. Yeah, it's a respect thing too, and I think that things have shifted. Like that gets lost, and I don't like it. I don't like how comfortable people are and how they're talking to their parents or their grandparents. I think we've gotten way too comfortable. And I don't know how to fix it other than doing stuff like this so that they can kind of hear these stories and hear that, okay, these things are being said to you out of love, not to make you feel any kind of way, because my feelings aren't involved in it. So how do you think it came to be that we've lost so much respect in how we value our elders, our parents, our aunts and uncles? What do you think that is attributed to?
Okay. One part of it is absenteeism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Either the mother is not there or the father is not there. Another part is the economy is at the point where both parents have to work. There's
Mm-hmm.
really at home doing the disciplining. They leave the disciplining to each other and children they normally can't teach each other things.
They haven't lived long enough.
No, they
No.
definitely no. And they don't see that. And they're at a point where, well, she can't tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
What to do. Because see, the first one that tells me, um, "You're not my mama." Pow. See that
Right.
I still have my standards of, yeah, I will whoop your butt. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not this time. I'm not the timeout grandma. The timeout great
Mm-hmm.
grandma. If I
Mm-hmm.
told I like my son. My son's 48. I told him if I have to stand on a ladder to hit you upside your head, I will do that.
That sounds like real talk right there. Why am I having? Why do I feel traumatized? Like I feel triggered somehow. But my goodness. Oh yes, but you know what? And here's something that is so true and so real. You remember that we would always say that I'm going to put the fear in you. You know, like the parents would put the fear in their
Yes.
children. Our generation thinks somehow that they don't understand that concept. You know,
Yes.
so they've taken the concept all out of context somehow.
Exactly. Exactly. Because if the fear is not the fear is more of respect than
Yeah,
afraid.
right. It's
So
more respect. Mm-hmm.
yeah, the respect. My 55-year-old daughter right now, oh yeah, she will go to battle for her mother. You're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
disrespect her mother. Simple as
Mm-hmm.
that. You're not gonna say things around her. You're not gonna say things to her, because I will get at you. Now she'll tell you that in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not afraid of me. She just has a certain amount of respect that she knows that her mother demands. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I demand that respect. You don't have a clue what I've gone through to get to 74 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
you're right. And I think, I think when I see when I sometimes open up IG and I see things, my heart breaks a little bit. You know what I mean? My heart breaks because I'm like, they didn't have someone like that in their life to show them what that means to be respectful to someone.
yes,
And being respectful to someone, it just what it does is bless you. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like yeah, it blesses you. It's like the golden rules also. You treat people the way you want to be treated. And what I have noticed when I do that, I get that in return, like tenfold.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that 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 oh, I hate saying this, but the younger parents aren't doing. Even people in my generation aren't doing on a consistent basis. And
Yeah.
I think it has to do with who's in your life, who is feeding information into you. But yes, so I wish I could remember this song this old man saying to me the other day. He's 93, black man, 93 years old. You would not be able to tell that he asked me to guess. I hate people. I don't like guessing people's age. And so I really honestly guessed he was probably around my dad's age. My dad is 81. He said, no.
Mhm.
My dad is 81. He said, no, I'm 93. I said, he still
Wow.
drives for himself. He takes long trips. I advise against. I said, I just don't think you should do that. But
Yeah.
he takes long trips and he jokes. And what he said was, I do this because I'm blessed to be alive. And if I can make somebody happy, it's making me happy and it's giving me life. It's giving me life. And I thought about that, and I thought, that's what it does for me. Like when I'm talking to people like you or like my mother or my aunts, I've always been a little girl that would sit there and listen to all the stories. Grandma and them, I would be the one like this. And then what happened? And then what happened? Because I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to share stories that I can pass on to people, like I just did about this old man, right? And because
Yeah.
one day you're not going to be able to, for one.
Right.
And it's still a lesson to be learned. It's still a lesson to be learned. And I am blessed, and I just keep meeting beautiful people like you, even if it's for a moment. It makes an impression on me,
Yeah.
and it means the world to me. And I just think everybody needs to know you.
Oh, thank you. I have a 95-year-old cousin and two 90-year-old cousins that I keep in touch with. And just like you're sitting and talking to me, I sit and talk to them because they have a wealth of knowledge, and for them to still have their memory. You know, as people, some people get older, for them, listen, the 95-year-old, she can remember exactly what she had on down to her earrings of what she did on a particular event that she's telling me about. It's just amazing to me. I love her so much, and I go to see her 2 or 3 times a month, and I call her
Wow.
often. Yes, that's on my father's side. On my mother's side, there are not as many elders that I am in touch with, although I am in touch with down to my fifth cousins on my mother's side. And there's still
Wow.
yeah, there's still 5 generations on my dad's side.
Mm-hmm. That I
Yeah,
think that
and
is so.
huh?
I think that is so important that you do this because your kids are watching you do this, and so because
Yeah,
like you lived your life and set that example, you're setting an example and a tone for your children to do the same thing, and that's how
exactly.
our story keeps going on.
Yes, they said you will never be forgotten until the last person that lives knows you. So,
Yeah.
like we still have my great grandmother. I tell them about my great grandmother. I know where her grave is, and they see me. As a matter of fact, I have a meeting at 6:30. They see me, doing these things and being involved in ancestry. We had a 2023, we had a Cook family reunion. That's my father's side. There were over 300 people there, and I did the family history. They knew about their mother's history, but they didn't know about their father's history. That's the one that I went back to 1817. So the children are watching me do this ancestry and find out how many people they are related to right in this town. There are so many people that I'm related to that I went to school with that didn't even know. As a matter of fact, during this reunion, I have two cousins that went to school and played football together that did not know their grandmothers were sisters.
What? Oh, that's close. That is
Their,
so close.
yes, their grandmothers were sisters. They did not have a clue.
And see, and this
So
is why, like, now I'm about to be scandalous. This is why I like listening to these stories because our older people were once very young and they had secrets and they could hold a secret until they get to the grave and
that
they
is
will
the name
never.
of my book. The name of my book is They Took It to the Grave.
You see that? But it's crazy because they can. They know how to. They don't know. We talk too much. Like in my generation, we talk way too much. But they can hold a secret. All right. Now this could be bad because what if one was a male, one was a female, and what if they fell in love? It's just like, what I'm saying? You got to talk to somebody about something. But because they
Yeah,
didn't want the scandal, they just kept it to themselves, and then you don't know until
yes,
you at the funeral or something like that. You know.
yes, ma'am. So my relatives on my mother's and father's children, we had a sister, she passed away, but her name was Cheryl. Before they would date anybody, they would take them to Cheryl so she could tell her whether or not they were related.
I was joking.
No,
Oh my gosh. You kind of need
so
somebody in your family to know stuff. You got it.
Yeah.
You because
Now I'm the
yeah.
one.
Now
um,
I love it.
um,
Oh
yeah,
my
Aunt Tricia,
God.
are we related? Yeah, Aunt Tricia, are we related? And I have to find out who the grandmother was and who the great grandmother was, because uh some of our great grandparents were sisters and brothers, and these kids don't even know.
They don't even know.
Nope.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I got a story, but I can't because it's too close to my generation, and I don't want to.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I understand. Listen, it's stories they're still being kept.
yeah, you really have to have someone. I we had an aunt. Her name is Aunt Lorraine. In our family, she was the one that knew all the history of everybody's. She knew who came from where, who married who, when they moved, who died, all these, when, and she's no longer here. And so part of me is kind of nervous. I'm kind of like, well, who gonna tell us the stuff? Like who's gonna tell us? But it's kind of crazy. But you do need someone like that. And now it's your turn, huh?
Yes. So I listen. We have found out that cousins have married cousins, but they did not know. But
Yeah,
they said, yeah, they said from my genealogy research, they said once they get to the eighth generation, there's normally no more blood detail that can tell you their DNA is not there. They may be in the same family, but the DNA is not there once they get to the eighth generation. But these kids in the sixth and seventh generation, they're hooking up with each other.
they hooking up and don't even know because grandma and them had made a mistake or something and wasn't gonna share this mistake with nobody.
That is correct.
Grandpa and them made a mistake.
And
Mm-hmm.
now you put this part out, but my daddy's mom was 11.
11.
Yes.
See?
Can you imagine?
I no. And
Now,
also trauma. We think about the trauma in our families. And back then we just did not talk about, like we do now.
yeah, and they sold kids to other people, and they made kids with kids, and oh
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm.
it's some things trigger me that I don't talk about, but
Yeah.
those are some of the things that actually, yeah, they trigger me. I'm serious.
That's hard. We're not going to go there because I can
Okay,
relate
yeah,
to something. Yeah. But, it's just, I just am thankful that when you know better, you do better, and that's all
yes,
you can do. And that's you from here on out. That's all you can do. But
yes,
I don't hold you too long, but I am so thankful that you came to share with us. I didn't even I didn't know what I was expecting, but I think I got more than I expected. I think I got like a
oh,
blessing. Like, I didn't know, I was like,
oh,
oh, I don't know if I was gonna be kind of shy. It's been a long time that I do that. I'll be like, I'll call you and it'll be like, it could be a few years since I last spoke. I literally just sent you a text message. I'm like, so I have this podcast, you know, and you said,
listen,
yeah.
sure. I, I was a little apprehensive at first, but you and I were able to talk on the phone like we knew each other forever when we worked together.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
The first thing I called you about? What kind of handwriting is this, girl? What are you?
Yes. And my handwriting is still terrible. I think I told you that. So my oldest, who is 30, when she was a little kid in elementary school, she would bring me permission slips from school. And she said, Mommy, listen, I'll fill it out. I just need you to sign it, okay? Okay. So she's 30. Now, fast forward, now she's 14, like decades later, she said the same thing, had no idea that her oldest daughter, her oldest sister said that. She said, Mommy, so I want to go on this field trip, but I don't need any help filling it out, okay? I can do it all by myself. I just need your signature. It is so bad. I'm so ashamed. And I just have given up on it. I don't know how to make it right. I don't have the patience. It's too late. It's too late for me.
I understand. I truly understand.
That was so funny. I remember that encounter. Oh man, I love it.
Yeah, that was our first encounter. Okay, who is this?
Oh my
And
gosh.
to say anyway, but that was our first encounter, and we've been. You can call me anytime. 2 or 3 years from now is not a problem. We will always have that kind of contact. We can pick up where we left off.
Yeah, I love that. You just made my heart smile. I'm so corny. Girl to me. So, well, I have to thank you so much for coming on my show. And what I will do is, please, if you have anything that you like, that you're doing offline, send it to me. So that I can put it in the description, and people can find you or purchase from you or whatever it is. But yeah, this was so much. This is like the picture of what I had hoped this to be, motherhood musing, maternal musing. So thank you so much. So we are going to, man, and we got to show, the other young lady that you fell in love with, we worked together. How come I'm having a brain fart? Because I haven't been there. Oh my gosh. We took a picture together, the three of us.
Yes. All I can think, Shakay. Shakay.
Yes. Yeah, so I want to make sure to share this with her too. This will make her heart smile too, I'm sure. So
we keep in touch on Facebook. She had another baby.
Yeah, I saw that. But yeah, I saw that she had a baby. Oh, she's so pretty anyway.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And she always talking about how pretty I am. Girl, you don't know pretty when you see it. You look in the mirror.
She does know, because I know too. So yes. Well, I'm gonna let you enjoy your evening, and we're gonna end the recording. You stay put as I end the recording. But thank you guys for joining us. Please tune in. Don't forget to like and share, and then hit that notification bell, and then follow. And also, you can, if you don't want to see us, you can listen to us on the podcast too. So either way, you can do it. All right. So we'll see you all next time.
Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and find me on Instagram at I am Charissa Marie. Also on YouTube at Charissa Marie Wants You to Be Free. Please hit that notification bell, like, comment, and share. Thank you for your support, and let's make 2024 amazing. Thank you so much for coming. We will see you the next time. Bye.